Hey, we're going to be talking about how to actually stay focused on schoolwork or just learning in general when you have ADHD. Such a big challenge. I had an issue with this going through college, medical school, and any schooling even when I was younger. And these are the tips that I use that really helped me to be able to kind of get through schoolwork and learning. So let's get started right after this intro. Welcome back, my Optimal Mind leaders and my Optimal Mind performers. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. LeGrand, and I grew up with ADHD and dyslexia, so let's go ahead and get started about what you need to do as far as to help you stay focused on schoolwork and learning when you have ADHD. So growing up for myself, I had a difficult time with a lot of subjects in school because a lot of them were just not interesting to me. I really would actually suffer in my grades because of this. And, I always just wanted to draw. I love drawing. So probably the one subject that I think that actually I did well or somewhat well was science because it was a little bit more visual for me. But when it came to like English and learning about grammar, come on, it was boring. And I just couldn't focus. I did really poor in that. Subjects like history, sometimes I did good, but sometimes if the history subject was really boring, I just wasn't engaged and I couldn't focus, and so I'd suffer as well. And a lot of people with ADHD can really relate to this. But when I was going through college and medical school, I started learning some new tactics for myself that really worked for me, for my ADHD brain. And so let's start with the very first one. The very first thing that I find this very important to be able to implement for a lot of people with ADHD is trying to use something creative when you're actually learning something or trying to study or actually memorize something to actually make it more creative. Even in class setting, you can also do things that are creative. So for example, if you have a writing assignment and you're just stuck and just don't know how to get started when it comes to writing, sometimes what I would do is I would draw it out because I love drawing. And so by drawing it out, I can visualize what I was needing to write about. Sometimes this had to be a mind map, so having the center idea and then branching out. They actually talk about this a little bit, some people, about when you're writing an idea is to mind map it so it's more visual. And that's something that I would do a lot of times, especially when it came to learning new subjects in class or a new topic. I would use mind maps because I can draw it out and then branch out and be able to get these visuals as far as when it came sunk into my brain when it came to testing day, because it was actually more visual to me. Now, not everybody's a visual learner. Sometimes it comes to being creative with using music. So trying to turn things into a rhyme by memorizing things, as well as, if you are more of a physical learner, by maybe making flashcards and actually learning things by on the go versus just, doing it simply by just sitting down and trying to read a piece of paper and memorizing something. The second thing that I think is so important for people, especially with ADHD, we get distracted very easily all the time. I still, to this day, hasn't changed. If there is something distracting, so for me right now, I have two kids. If there's a kid that is crying, I can't get any work done. So what I do to be able to drown out any kind of distractions, whether that's people talking or someone trying to contact you through your phone, what I do is actually I put headphones on and I have background music to drown out all the distracted sounds, as well as turn off all the notifications off of this phone so I don't get distracted by any kind of notifications that come in. So you got to go ahead and turn all those off. Especially, maybe you still want to be connected, but while you're studying and when you're trying to focus and study for an exam or try and do an assignment for a class, or for you parents who have kids that struggle with this as well, is to make sure they don't have any distractions, to have more quiet room for them and be able to do this, because then you can actually hunker down and really focus. Because the big issue when it comes, especially with not just people with ADHD, but people who do struggle with trying to get motivated and get into their thinking mode, it takes a while. It could take 20, 30 minutes sometimes to just kind of ramp up. And then if you get a distraction, guess what? It goes back down. You get distracted and it takes you several times to be able to get back where you were. So if you have it quiet without distractions, you get in that peak mindset where it takes about 20 minutes to kind of get in that mindset. And then that's the power mode where you actually get stuff done. And you don't want to get distracted that time. Otherwise, you go back to the cycle and have to revamp up again for the next 20 minutes to kind of get back into your mindset. The third thing, and I think this is really important, it isn't just for kids, but I think also adults, I use this throughout college and medical school, is when I would have my time management layout. So I would usually, what I do with time management, here's a little tip on time management, is the night before every hour I'd put, okay, I need to do this assignment, I need to do this, and I give myself a time frame. When you give yourself a time frame, you are then really motivated, or at least your mind thinks, okay, I got this much time, and you actually be more efficient when you actually give yourself a time limit. And by giving yourself time limit, you should also give yourself a reward. So if you finish in this time, you're like, okay, I'm going to take a 10-minute break and watch this YouTube video that I've been wanting to watch. So instead of first thing in the morning, when you're maybe scrolling through your stuff and you want to watch something, maybe save it for later. It's like, okay, I'll use this as my reward. And for kids, same thing. You maybe give them a reward where they get a 10-minute break, where they get to watch a quick cartoon or something like that. But having that reward system for people with ADHD is really important. But even for people who don't have ADHD, it is really, really important to be able to have that, because the reward system is what keeps us motivated to keep going, especially doing learning stuff that might be not as interesting to us. But when you apply the creative aspect, as well as the reward system, as well as eliminating distractions, you will be able to actually accomplish more in the day, and to be able to actually make it more interesting for yourself when you're learning boring subjects, when you start applying these types of principles. So I hope you guys found this very beneficial. And if you want to learn more about ADHD tips that I talk about all on this channel, every week we actually post twice a week on all different ADHD health, also personal development, relationships, as well as the work-life balance, all these different types of strategies when it comes to mental health issues and how to apply it to real life strategies and tactics. I talk about all in this channel. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button, as well as give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Until next time, this is Dr. LeGrand signing out. And remember, you have an optimal mind. Thanks. Bye.